Hello everyone, my name is Ashish and you are watching another web guy YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to create a full stack to-do application with live search feature. So let me show you first how the to-do app works. So you can obviously add some to-dos, some to-do like this. And then if you want to search for something, so you can do, and you can see that it will search in real time like this. And we'll use React Bootstrap for this project, and we'll also deploy it on Firebase, and we'll see how we can use the database of the Firebase. So without wasting any time, let's get started. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell icon so that you don't miss any of our videos. So as usual, I'm using my VS Code text editor along with my Chrome browser, and I have used Create React App to create a basic boilerplate, and I have got rid of all the unnecessary code so that we can start from blank. So for the to-do application, the first thing you need is an input box. So let's create an input component. So we'll go into the SRC folder. Here we'll create a new folder and we'll name it components like this, and inside the components folder we'll create a new file named input.js like this. Now here we can do RAFCE and press tab, and it will give us the boilerplate for the component. The reason why I'm able to do this is I have an extension installed that is ES7 React Redux GraphQL snippets right here. So you can install this extension, and then you can do RAFCE to create the boilerplate for the component. Now let's close this, and in here the first thing inside the input component we require is an input box and then a button for adding the to-do item. So here we'll say input like this. And now we want to create some functions, so we'll say onChange, and here we will set its value equal to input handler, and we also want to have the value property, and we'll set its value equal to input. Now we need to create this input state and this input handler, so let's create the state. To create a state in React, we need to use useState. So we are using the useState hook. And in here, we'll say const. We'll destructure the array and we'll say input and a function to set this input. That will be set input. You can name it whatever you want, but this is the convention. Then you can have useState, and in here we'll have an empty string like this. Now we need to create this input handler. So let's create the input handler. We'll say const. I'm using an arrow function. So input handler like this. And it will take an event parameter. So we'll say event. And then we will do this function. And here we'll say set input. And the value will be event.target.value like this. Now we need to create a button to add our to-dos. For that, first we need to create a state to hold all our to-do items. So that state will be an array of objects, and in the objects we will keep our to-do items. So let's go to the app.js, and in here we'll first import the useState hook. Now the reason why we have not done import React from React is from React 17 onwards we do not need to use import React from React in every component. So even if in this input component I remove this, it will work perfectly fine. So just keep that in mind. You need to do import React from React only once, that is in the index.js file right here. So you do not need to do it anywhere else. Now in the app.js, let's import the useState hook. So we'll do useState like this from React And inside the app function, we will say const to-dos, and we'll do set to-dos is equal to useState, and this should be an array. So let's keep it a blank array like this. Now we need to access these to-dos and set to-dos from the input.js. So we'll pass these to-do and set to-do as props to the input component. So let's add this input component here first. We'll do input like this. Let's import the input component. For that, we'll do control and space, and then you can press enter. It will import the input component from our components folder. Now to pass these as props, we will create property. So to do is equal to to-dos like this, and then we can have set to-dos is equal to set to-dos like this. Awesome. Now we need to receive these props inside our input component. So we'll use object destructuring here, and we'll receive input and set input. Sorry, to-dos and set to-dos. So we need to receive to-dos and set to-dos like this. Now let's create the button to add our to-do items. So I will close this, and inside here we will create a button like this. We'll say add to do like this, and then we can say on click is equal to submit handler. Now let's create this submit handler function. So we'll say const submit handler we'll create an arrow function. Now in here we'll check if we have our input. So if we have something in our input state, then we want to add that to our to-do list of to-do items. So we'll say if input, so that we are not able to add blank items to our array. So that's why we are performing this check first. So we'll say if input, and then we'll say set to-dos, and that would be an array. And first we want to copy all the items which is already there in the to-do list. So we'll say to-dos like this, and then we want to create an object, and in here we'll have the text as input, and we want to have a property completed. So we'll say completed to false like this. So that's great. So we had an empty array of to-do items. So we are copying all the items from the original to-do array, and then we are adding one more item with two properties. So we have the text and we have the completed property. So every to-do item will have these two properties, the text and the completed property. Now next, let's add this input component on our app.js. So here, okay, we have already added this. So this should show up here. Let's refresh this. Okay, I need to run the server again. So let's do npm start like this, and then we should be able to see these items. So you can see that we have our input box, and then we have a button, and if we type something inside the button, for example, to do one, and then if we click on add to do, it will just add the item in the to-do list. So the way how we can see that is we can go to the profiler, or we can go to the components like this, and in the input component you can see that we have the state to do one. So if I remove this. If I add something else, so if I say to do 2, and if I do add to do, you can see that the to do item has now 2 items, to do 1 and to do 2. If I add to do 3 and add to do, you can see that the third item is added inside the state of the to do items. Okay, so close this. We also want that when we add the to do items, this text should go away. So let's go back to the input.js, and in here, after we have added the to do item, let's say set input, and we'll set it back to an empty string like this. That's awesome. Now whenever we click on add to do, you can see that we clear the input. So we type something, we do add to do, and we type something, and then we do add to do, and it is being added to the to do items. Now the next thing we want to do is to display those to do items onto our screen. So to show our to do items onto the screen, we need to create another component, the to do component. So let's create that. We'll go into the components folder. Here we'll create to do.js like this. In here we'll do RAFCE. Let's close this. Here let's add a p tag like this, and in here we'll say my to do. So first we'll just render it onto the screen, and then we will populate this through our to do array. So first go to the app.js. In here we'll say to do like this. Let's do control plus space, and we can auto import, and then let's also create a h1 here so that we can see what's happening. So we'll say to do application like this. So we have this my to do, but we want to grab this to do item from our to do's array. So the way we can do that is through props. So we can send this to do state into our to do component. So we'll say to do's is equal to to do's like this. Now inside the to do's, we'll receive the to do's like this, and in here we can say to do's. Now you can see that we will get an error. If we go on to the console, you can see that we are getting an error. This is because the to do's is an array of objects, and we can't display those objects onto the screen. The reason for this is that we have objects inside the to do's array, so we cannot display the complete array like that onto the screen. So for that we need to use the map function, and we need to extract the relevant items from the to do array, and then we need to display them onto the screen. So let's do that. So for that, let's log this onto the console. So we will say here console.log, and then we will say to do's like this. And here you can see that we have got an array with length 0. So if we add some to do's, so let's add some to do's, let's add one more, and then you can see that we are getting an array with 2 objects. So we have the text property here, and then we have the completed property. So we need to map through this array and then use the text property to display on the screen. So for example, here we will say in the app.js, we will create some curly braces so that we can write the JavaScript code, and in here we'll say to do's dot map, and this will take the item like this, and here we'll say return these to-dos. Okay, I'm sorry. Like this. And in here we need to pass this item so that we are passing each to-do item. And we also need to convert these curly braces to normal braces so that we are returning it like this. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. Okay. Now you can see that if we add something here, if we add something to do, you can see that we are getting the objects. So we are getting the text and we are getting completed. So in here, inside the to-do component, if we do to-dos dot text like this, so you can see that we are getting the text. Now instead of logging that onto the console, we can directly display it onto the DOM. So we can say to-dos dot text like this. And now if we add something here, you can see that it is being added to the DOM like this. Now you can see that we have some error here again. So it says, I don't think we should get that error. So if I do this, so one more error which we are getting is this key prop. So we are not having a key prop. So whenever you do a loop inside the JSX, you need to add a key prop to for the React to function correctly. So let's go to the app.js, and in here we will add a key prop, and we can set its value equal to the index, because the index of this map function will always be unique. So let's add an index here. That is the second parameter. And this should clear all our errors. So now if we add something, you can see that we can add this, like this, like this, like this. And that's awesome. Now let's create the completed functionality and the delete functionality. So for that, let's close this. Let's go to the todo.js, and in here we want to create two buttons. One for marking the to-do item to be complete, and the other button to delete the to-do item. So let's do that. We'll say button like this, and in here we'll say complete. And then here we'll make another button like this, and here we'll say delete. So we have this complete button and then the delete button. So the way we can add this complete functionality and the delete functionality is by using the other property of the to-do object. So we know that the to-dos is an object and it has a text property and a completed property. So let's say button on click, and let's set its value equal to complete handler like this, and in here we'll say on click is equal to delete handler. Now let's create these two functions, complete handler and delete handler. So in here we'll say const complete handler like this, and let's set its. And inside here, the way we update our to-do items is first we make an identical copy in some other array, and then we make changes in that array, and then we copy it back to the main array. So let's see how we can do that. It will be more clear by the example. So inside app.js, we will first pass the to-dos. We will pass this to-dos array inside the to-do component. So let's change this to item. Let's change this to item. And in here, we also need to change this to item. Like this. Here, we need to change this to item. And now let's pass the to-dos. So for that, we'll say to-dos is equal to to-dos. Like this. And then in here, we can receive the to-dos. So we also want to receive the index. And we want to receive the to-dos. Like this. So let's pass the index as well. So we'll say index is equal to index, like this. Now in the to-do component, we have created the complete handler function. Let's create another function, delete handler. So we'll say delete handler, like this. Like this. Now let's go to the complete handler. Inside this, as I told you, first we'll create an array that will be copy of the main array. So we can say let new to-dos is equal to the old to-dos. So all the items from your original to-dos element. And so now the new to-dos has all the items from our original to-do list. Now what we can do is we can map through this new array. So we can say new to-dos dot map, and then we can have element, and inside the map we can have the element and the index, and we can say if I is equal to index. So basically this index which we are getting. So once you are clicking on the completed button, the application will pass the index and all the to-do items. So we can use this index to just check that particular item. So for that, here we'll say if I is equal to index, what we can do is we can say new to-dos I dot completed is equal to the opposite of what it was. So new to-dos I dot completed, like this. And then we can return the element. So we can do return el, like this. And after that, we can set its value back to the to-do items. So here we can say set to-dos, and okay, what was that? So set to-dos, and then we can say array, and that will be all the items from the new to-dos. Now we also want to receive this set to-dos. So here let's create set to-dos, and we want to send this set to-dos here. So we'll say set to-dos is equal to set to-dos, like this. There should be a curly brace, and that's great. Now if I add some items here, so let's add some to-do items, and if I click on this complete button, and if I check the state of this application, let's go to the components, and here in the app component you can see that we have the state, and you can see the completed property of this item, the 0th item, is now true. If we click here, you can see that it is now true. If I click here, now it is true. So this functionality is completely working. So if I click again, it will change to false. If I click again, it will change to false. Now we need to do some conditional rendering. So if the item is already completed, we need to strike that item off, and we want to change this button as well. So the way we can do that is, let's go to the to-do component. So in here, in the function, we'll say let completed is equal to item dot completed. Now inside the return statement, we can use curly braces to write JavaScript expressions, and here we'll check for the completed. So if the completed is true, what we want to do is, so let's do this, and if the completed is true, what we want to do is, we want to have a React fragment like this, and inside the React fragment we'll say p, the paragraph component, like this, and here we'll say item dot text, and here we will have, if the item is already complete, then we want to have the not complete button. So we'll have the button on click is equal to complete handler, and here we'll say not complete, like this. And then we want to have the delete button. Okay, so delete button will be universal, so we'll create it at the end. We also want to have some styling. So in the p component, we'll say style is equal to, we will create an object and we'll say text decoration, and we'll set its value equal to line through, like this. And inside this, so if the completed property is false, then what we want to do is, again we'll render a React fragment like this, and in here we'll create a p component and we'll say item.text, like this, and then we'll have a button. So let's copy this and paste it here, and instead of not complete, it should say complete, like this. That should be fine. So we can remove this complete button from here, and we can remove this item text from here as well. And now you can see that if I click on this complete, okay, so let's refresh this application, and then you can see if I add something, so let's add something, let's add something else, and if I click on complete button, it should automatically add the line through button, but it is not adding that. Let's see why it is not happening. So what we can do is, let's check the console, let's check the components, and let's check the app component, and if I click on complete, okay, this is not working. The reason why it's not working is, let me just check. So the reason why it's not working is we have this on click misspell here. So let's change this to on click like this, and now it should work. So if I add something, so to do one, and if I click on add to do, if I add something else, add to do, if I add something else, add to do. Now if I click on the complete button, you can see that the to do item is striked off and the button is changed to not complete. Similarly, we can click here and you can see not complete, but the text is striked off, not complete. And if I click again, complete, complete. So that's great, awesome. Our app is now working. Now let's create this delete functionality. So for that, let's come onto the delete handler. Now in the delete handler, what we need to do is we'll say we'll again copy the complete to do items inside a new array, and then we'll amend that array, and then we will set that new array back to the main array. So here we'll say new to dos like this, and this should be equal to the old to dos. So for that, let's spread the items from the old to dos like this. Now what we need to do is we'll do new to dos dot filter like this, and in here it will take el and I, the element and the index I, and then we can set its value equal to when I is not equal to index like this. This complete array should be copied into new to dos. So for that we will say new to dos is equal to new to dos like this, and then what we can do is we can set the original to do item equal to the new to dos. So we'll say set to dos, and we'll set its value equal to new to dos like this. And now if we refresh this application, if we add some to do items, so add to do, add to do, add to do, and if we click on delete, the item is deleted, delete, delete. So we can add to do, complete, and delete. So that is awesome. So the basic application is now in place. Now we need to create the live search feature. So we should have a search box here, and if I type something in the search box, it should give me all the results that matches the item inside the search box. So let's see how we can create that. So now let's create the search component. So here we'll go into the components folder, and in here we'll create a new file. We'll say search.js like this, and inside the search.js we'll do RAFCE, and you can see that we have got the boilerplate for the arrow function, and in here we want the input box to type our search items. So here we'll create an input like this, and we'll say on change, and that will be equal to search handler. That is the function which we are going to create, and we also want to have on and then we have the value. So we'll have value is equal to search input. So that will be the state which we'll be creating, search input like this. Let's remove this. Okay, now let's create the search handler function. So here we'll say const search handler like this. That will be an arrow function like this, and in here we will set the search input. Now we need to create this search input state and a function set search input to set this search input. So we can do that in the app.js file. So here we'll say const search input and set search input. There is a reason why I'm making this these variables set search input and search input inside the app component and not in the search component, and I'll tell it to you later, so just bear with me for now. So this will be use state and it will be an empty string like this. Use state should be like this, and then after the input we can have our search component, so we can have search like this, and you can see it is automatically imported. Now inside the search component we need to pass search input and set search input as props. So here we'll say search input like this, and we'll say search input. Then we can do set search input is equal to set search input like this. Now let's receive these props. So inside the search.js we'll use object destructuring. Okay, there should be arrow here. That's great. And in here we will receive search input and set search input like this. Now inside this search handler we will use, this will take our event parameter, event, and then here we'll say set search input should be equal to event dot target dot value like this. And now if I type something here, let's open our components. So here in the Chrome Developer Tools, we click on components. In the app component, we have this set search input state, and you can see that it is changing to whatever we type. So if I remove this, you can see that the state of set search, the search input is changing. So that is awesome. So the way this search works is that we have two arrays. First the main to do array, and then we have a filtered to do array. So we constantly check the input inside the search box with the filtered array. So let me show you what I mean to say. We will have two arrays. So this is our main array, and and then we have another array. So that will be the filter array. So this is the filter, and these two will be exactly identical. Okay, now we will check the contents of this search box from this filter array constantly, and then we will display all the items from this to-do list which will match the search box. So we will display only the filter items inside this, and whenever we clear the search box, we'll set it back equal to the main array. So that is how we implement the live search. Now let's see that in action. So let's remove this and let's go to the app component. Now we need to create a copy of to-do items inside a filter to-do items, and we need to do that every time the component renders. So the way we can do that is by using the use effect hook. So let's use the use effect hook here. So here we will say use effect, and the way use effect functions is that it has a function first and then it has an array. So this function will run every time anything inside this array changes, and if this array is empty, then this function will run every time the component renders. So that is how use effect works. So you have a function and you have a dependency array, and this function will run every time anything inside this function changes. Now to use the use effect, we need to import that from React. So apart from use state, we'll say use effect like this, and inside this function we will say first we'll create a filter and we'll set its value equal to the main to-dos array. So we'll say to-dos like this. Then we'll say filter dot filter. So this filter is this filter array and this filter is the array function. So I hope that's clear. And then we'll say, we'll take the element here and then we'll say let item is equal to element dot text dot to lowercase. We need to convert every item to lowercase so that our search is not case sensitive. So we are saying to lowercase like this, and then we will check this item. So we'll say return item dot includes. So includes is again a JavaScript function, and here we'll say search input. So we'll check with the search input and dot to lowercase. So we want to convert everything into lowercase and then we want to compare. And this is the reason why we are using the search input inside the app component and not in the search.js, because if we have used that search component in the search.js file, we could not have been able to use that in app.js file. Now, you can use context and other things, but this is a beginner's tutorial, so we are just trying to focus on the basics. So this is how we do it. If we want to access some variable or some state in two components, we need to keep that state in a higher component. So okay, this should be L, not lm. Okay, this search input dot to lowercase like this, and then that's it. And now inside this array, what we have to set is if our to-do items change, that then we want to change the to-do, then we want to change, or we want to run this function. Then if anything inside the search component changes, so we want to have the search input here like this. So if our to-do item or the search input changes, we want to run this function again. So that is awesome. Now what we need to do is we need to have a state for keeping all the filtered items. So here we will have const filtered to-dos like this, and then we'll have a function set filtered to-dos, set filtered to-dos like this, and we can set its value equal to useState, and that will be a blank array. And inside the use effect, we can copy this filter array, so we can say set filtered to-dos equal to all the items from the filter array like this. Now instead of rendering the to-dos item, we will say filtered to-dos here, filtered to-dos like this. And that's it. Now hopefully everything should work. So if I click here and if I add some item, so some item 1, if I click on add to do, if we do some item 2, then 3, and if I search for these items, okay, it is not working. So let's check the components. So let's check the console first. So okay, everything is fine here, and if I check the components, you can see that everything is working. So let's check our code. Okay, I forgot to set its value equal to filter, so we need to do filter equal to filter here like this. So now this returned elements will form inside the filter array. So now if I type something here, so if I do SO, you can see that our live search is working. So that is awesome. AZ, and you can have this. If I do SA, you can have this. So if I want to delete these items, so I can delete. If I want to add few items, click on completed. So everything is working as expected, and we have implemented the live search feature. So that's the end of the video, and in the next part we'll deploy this application onto Firebase, and we'll also use React Bootstrap to add some styling to the application. So that's all for today. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.